Smart growth starts with smart planning. Most of our growth that we see in the future is coming out of medium-sized cities. About 60% of all urban growth will come from cities that perhaps have not had a legacy of planning, or if they were planned, it was done in a fairly organic or looking backwards kind of way. And oftentimes this means they start, when they think about planning, with a physical plan. In other words, how big can it be, and where is the land to be reclaimed? A bit of a build it and they will come kind of strategy. I find that this leads to significant challenges with the lack of thinking through the economics of this. And as we know, in most large capital projects, 80% of the value is in the design stage. It's at the beginning, not in the execution. So thinking through the pace, the scale of the project, that's the critical challenge here. And in an economic way, the only way to understand what's going to make sense is to work backwards from the concept of competitive advantage in the marketplace. Really, what is the strategy for the city? So it's not just a physical plan. It's about integrating the economic development opportunity, the competitiveness of the city in terms of its infrastructure, its human capital. These are the things that really matter. In fact, there's a huge correlation between the growth of a city over the long term and its success in building its human capital, measured by everything from the graduation rates of its university students, the number of high-tech value-added workers, the entrance and the passing of entrance exams in the Ming Dynasty bureaucracy. These are the kinds of measures that cities need to have in order to say whether or not they're really doing a good job of planning for their growth. So integrating the physical and the economic and the social plan is a critical hallmark for a successful city. And when that doesn't happen, what we find is mistakes. And so the most obvious recent example would be, for example, Detroit, where we have seen the city shrink by almost a third of its population, due primarily not to a poor physical plan, though that contributed with the impacts of sprawl, but really to a failed industrial plan in sense of its over-concentration on a single industry. And that, unfortunately, for that area has now led for a major restructuring. And so now we see the rebirth of that area, I should say, around a more integrated and diversified set of economic initiatives. So once again, integrating the physical and the economic and the social plan is a critical aspect. And too often these fall to be prisoners of their own bureaucracies. And that's what the role of the mayor is, again, is to bring those people together to have a common vision which includes all of those aspects.